Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Cyber Talk. Yeah, we're gonna start shortly. Let's have a lot of people join the show today. Yeah, so tonight we're gonna be continuing our discussion with on the cryptography. We're gonna wrap up today on cryptography. So last time was a long lecture. I've seen that people were tired, so I decided to break it up and to continue today. So today we're gonna finish our lecture on the cryptography. That's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna finish up the cryptography, and then next week we're gonna start something new. So that's what we're gonna do tonight. So let's please help me to share the link. Let's invite more people, and we're gonna start shortly. I'm gonna be starting very shortly. So just help me to share the link, please. I hope you guys are having a good day today. Today is a lovely Thursday. As you already know, every Thursday we do our cyber talk show. So today we're gonna learn some new stuff. So just be with me. And, yeah. Yes, please help me to share the link, please. Help me. Yeah, I'm gonna try to also share it quickly here to invite more people. Yeah, I see you, Adetimo, Axel Palanga, El Mariano, I see you, Julian Asiedu, Mark Wallace, I see you. Welcome to the show. So we're gonna get into it very soon. Try to also share a little bit. Let me share the link a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna start like in the next 3 minutes. We're gonna start. I'm gonna start in the next 3 minutes. I'm gonna start very soon. So just bear with me. Can you guys hear me? Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Can you guys hear me? Okay, I assume you guys can hear me. I'm gonna start very soon. Okay, Folie de Milan, you're welcome. Welcome to the show. We're gonna start very soon. We're gonna start very soon. Yeah, Richard Bedu Kwesi, thank you. Thank you. I hope you guys your week so far is good, because mine I can't complain. I'm having a blast, although too much work this week, but it's okay. There's nothing we can do, so all right, so let's have more people join. Hey, I see my wife Stephanie Dijonu here. She want to follow the show today, so welcome to the show. So please help me to share. I want more people to join. So we're gonna start in the next 2 minutes. I'm just gonna start in the next 2 minutes. In the meantime, let's see. Yeah. We're gonna have a very interesting lecture today. I have prepared some lab that I'm gonna show you guys. Hey, Ameji Komlavi, they came on. That's my good friend all the way in Ghana. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. Alright, let's give it another minute and then we're gonna start. 1 more minute and we're gonna start. We're gonna start in a minute. I'm happy you're doing well. Yeah, it's been a long time, man. It's been a long time. Okay. All right. Guys, help me to share the link. I'm just gonna start now. Hopefully more people will join. So we're just gonna start. So let's start. As I usually start the program by saying that whatever you are learning here is for educational purpose only. You cannot use it to hack into people's account or get unauthorized access to people's information. So whatever we do here is for educational purpose only. So last week we started our series on cryptography. And we talk about encryption, and today we're going to continue our discussion with the hashing and also steganography. So we're going to continue our discussion with that. But I'm just going to run through this quickly, an overview of what we did last time. Last time we talked about the core principles in security, in IT security, that is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We said that confidentiality have to do with making sure that only authorized people have access to the information. Integrity is to making sure that only authorized modification are made to the information or the information system. And the last thing under the core security principles is availability, which is information should be readily available for the authorized users. So basically, you want to make sure that the information is available to users when needed. Right, so we talked about that last week. in terms of cryptography, when we take cryptography, cryptography is mostly like taking a plain text, right, and then also applying a kind of mathematical equation to it to turn it into a cipher text. Cipher text simply means that a text that if you don't have the key, you cannot decrypt it to read it, right? So in cryptography, we have three ways to implement cryptography. You have the steganography, right, where you hide secret in ordinary messages, and then we have the hash that we use to protect the integrity of a message or a file by using algorithm like MD5 or SHA. And also we have encryption, where you have two type of encryption. You have symmetric encryption and you have asymmetric encryption. So last week we talked about symmetric encryption. So this week we're going to actually start with asymmetric encryption. So we cover symmetric encryption last week. Okay. So we also explain what is encryption, what's the difference between a password protected file or an encrypted file. So we talk about all this already, so I'm not going to go over and over. We talk about the difference between encryption versus encoding. So we did that last week. And we also talked about when to use cryptography. We said anywhere you have sensitive information, where you want to restrict access to those sensitive information, you want to encrypt those files or those messages, or you can encrypt a file, you can encrypt a database, you can encrypt a folder, wherever you have very insensitive information, you want to employ encryption to restrict access to those sensitive information. Okay, so we started our discussion last week, and we actually seen in real demonstration symmetric encryption. And the takeaway from symmetric encryption is that when you are doing symmetric encryption, only one key is involved. So both the sender and the receiver must have access to the same key. So when you have a message like a plain text message leaving the sender here, who is Alice, Alice going to use the secret key to encrypt it. It become a cipher text. Bob will get that cipher text, encrypt it with decrypt it with the secret, and we're gonna get the plain text. So that was the flow for symmetric encryption. So today we're gonna continue the discussion with asymmetric encryption, right? So now the big difference between asymmetric encryption and symmetric encryption is that in symmetric encryption, you only have one key involved, right? But in asymmetric encryption, you have two pairs of keys involved. You have a pair of keys involved, meaning two keys involved. So each party, right? Each party will have two set of keys. So if you have Alice and Bob, they're gonna use symmetric encryption, asymmetric encryption. Both parties will have two set of keys. So Alice will have what we call a private key and a public key, and also Bob also going to have a private key and a public key. So the two parties have two keys. Now let's say Alice want to send something to let's say let's say Bob want to send something to Alice, right? So Bob going to use Alice's public key to encrypt the message and send it to Alice. So when the message gets to Alice, Alice is going to use her private key to decrypt it. Now, this is what I want to explain to you guys. Like every party have two keys, right? So Alice will have private and public, and Bob will have private and public. Now, everybody's private key is private to them. Nobody have access to it. But their public key is made available to anybody who want to have an exchange or have a communication with them. So what I mean by this is in the asymmetric encryption, here we have two parties. Bob will have access to Alice's public key, and also Alice will have access to Bob's public key. So anytime, remember, anything that is encrypted with a private key can only be decrypted with the corresponding public key. Anything that has been encrypted with a public key can only be decrypted with the corresponding private key. To explain it further, it means that if I encrypt something with Bob's public key, only Bob's private key can decrypt it. If I encrypted anything with, let's say, Alice's private key, only Alice's public key can decrypt it. So that's what the fundamental you need to understand here. So now, once again, so if Bob want to send an encrypted message to Alice, then Bob going to use Alice's public key to encrypt it. Once it gets to Alice, Alice going to use her private key to decrypt it. So you really have to understand that concept. Now, you can use asymmetric encryption to actually achieve a lot of stuff. But tonight we're going to talk about only two things. You can use what do you call asymmetric encryption to validate what we call to make sure that only authorized people have access to the information. Meaning, you want to make sure that only authorized people have access to the information. So if Bob only want Alice to see the message, what Bob will do is that he's going to encrypt the message using Alice's public key. Right? When the message gets to Alice, Alice is going to use her private key to decrypt it because only Alice have that private key. So only Alice can actually open the message and read it. Now, let's say the intent of Bob is not to protect the confidentiality of the message, but want to make sure that everybody knows that the message is coming from him. Meaning he want to do what we call non-repudiation, right? People should know that the message is coming from him, right? What he's going to do is that he's going to actually encrypt the message with his private key. So if Bob encrypt the message with his private key, right, because everybody have access to his public key, when they are able to decrypt the message using his public key, then the people will know that the message is actually coming from Bob. I hope I'm able to explain it to you guys. So if you want to do non-repudiation, if you want everybody to know the message is coming from you, then you have to use your private key to encrypt it, so that when you get to the people will use your public key, which is available to them, to open it and see the content of the file. Okay, so that's how best I can explain this. Let me see. I'm going to try to see whether I can show you guys. Let me see what I can show you guys. Let me try to see what I can show you guys. Demonstrate to you guys a tool, if I can. Let me see. We can have a tool here. Let me open this file. Prince Warren, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Let me see whether I can show you guys this tool quickly. I've been using this tool for the past few weeks to demonstrate stuff. It's the crypt tool. So I'm going to run it right now and bring it to the screen for you guys so that we can see. Last week I already showed you guys symmetric encryption. So this week I'm just going to show you guys asymmetric encryption. So give me a second for this tool to come up and then I can show you guys. Let me see. Let me see what I can open this here. For some reason the tool is not coming up. I don't know why. Maybe let me go here. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna leave it alone, and I'm gonna show you guys something else, and then maybe I'll come back to it. So let's move on. Maybe I'll come back to I'm trying to open the tool, but it's giving me some hard time. It's not opening, so let's continue, and then I'll come back to it. So I wanted to show you guys the symmetric encryption, but in the meantime, I can show you guys a tool that you can definitely use because I've been talking about encryption. Somebody's going to say, okay, in real life, how do I use this encryption and all that? Now, there's a tool called 7-Zip, and there's another tool called WinZip, right? So those tools are tools that you can actually use to encrypt a files or a folder, right? So you can encrypt a file so that you can protect it against unauthorized use. So let's say, for example, I have some document on my desktop, on my computer, that I want to protect so that nobody can have access to it, right? I can actually encrypt it using 7-Zip or WinZip. The difference between 7-Zip and WinZip is that the 7-Zip is free. You don't have to pay for anything. But with the WinZip, you need to pay. It's not free. So if you go here, I'm going to show you guys something right now. Here, I think I open it. If you go to this site right here, this is a WinZip. You can download it and you can run it. I'm going to show you. I have one on my desktop, so I'm going to show you guys how to run it. So this is a WinZip. And you also have 7-Zip. So if you have a Windows computer, you can download this one, right? So you can download 7-Zip, and you can use 7-Zip to encrypt stuff on your desktop or on your computer so that only you will have access to it. Okay, so for example, let's say I have now the tool is coming up. I'm just gonna minimize it for now. Gonna minimize it, and let's say I have this text here, which is hi.text, right? So this is just a small text I have here. Let's say I want to encrypt this text on my desktop. So let's say I want to encrypt it on my desktop, and this is the content. Text is good, so that's what I have inside. Because I already have 7-Zip and WinZip installed, I'm going to do a demonstration showing you both of them. So if I do right click, right, so I can just do right click, and I can just do right click. I can just do right click on this. I don't know what is going on with my laptop right now. I don't know what is going on. I think I have too many stuff open right now. Man, I don't know what is going on. I don't know what is going on with my computer right now. Let's try this one more time. Okay, yeah, here we go. So if I want to encrypt with 7-zip, I can just go here. Um, and then let's say I'll say add to archive, and then I can all right, let me see. So here, so this is the, so I right click on the file. This is what display. So you can see the encryption is AS256, right? So I can put a password. So it's going to encrypt it with this algorithm, which is AES256. That's the encryption. So we're just going to put like test 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 is the password, and then we're going to say okay, encrypt it, and it's going to encrypt it, and that is the encryption right there. So this is the, this I just encrypt this is right here, right? So that is the encryption. Okay, so I can decrypt it if I yeah, I have VMware running because I want to show you guys something. That's why I have VMware running. I think anytime I run VMware and also running my stream, online streaming application, then I have this problem. Maybe next week I'll change. I'll run this one through. I'll run it on a different machine, a very a more powerful machine next week. So here, let's say I want to open this, right? I used this computer the whole day. I didn't have this issue. I think the issue is from the streaming software. Anytime I'm using this streaming software, then everything become very slow. All right, so I'm gonna try to I wanted to show you something in the Kali, but what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna try to stop the VM and see what I to resolve the issue. Let me try to stop the VM and see what I to stop the issue. Task manager. Let me try to do that quickly. Let me see whether that to work. Let me close some of these applications and see. Yeah, so next time I'm just gonna run this on a different computer. Let me see. So I'm gonna end the VMware. Let me see whether that will resolve the issue. Yeah, yeah, the Streamlab is chopping a lot of memory. I can see from the task manager. He's taking a lot of memory. The streaming software. That's where the problem is. He's taking a lot of, yeah, he's taking a lot of yeah. That's where the problem is. Okay, so let me try to yeah. All right, so let's try this again. Okay. All right, so let's try it again. So I find out is the streaming software is taking too much power. Taking too much power on this thing. So, well, yeah. So, man. Okay, so I think all right. Let me see. Maybe I'm just gonna try to see what I can change some. If I can change some stuff here quickly, but I don't think it's gonna give me the. Okay. All right. I believe all right, so with 7-zip, let's say I'm gonna open this, and I want to use 7-zip. So we have used the 7-zip to encrypt this file. So we're gonna use the 7-zip to actually decrypt it. So we're gonna say extract, and we're gonna say yes, we want to extract to the desktop, and now it's asking us the password. Right, so you remember the password, right? So show the password, right? And then for me to confirm, and then because I already have these on the desktop, if I say yes, it's gonna replace that file. So it means that when you have such file on your desktop, if somebody comes to your desktop, it doesn't have the password, you can never see the content of this file. So let's do the same thing using WinZip, right? So with WinZip 2, you can do the same thing. You right click on the file that you want to encrypt, and so I can, this time I'm not going to do 7-zip. This time I'm going to do WinZip. So I'm going to say add to zip file. Then it's going to bring the console for me where I can actually um, encrypt using WinZip. So everything now is just slow. But I think next week I'm just gonna change the computer. I'm just gonna use. I have so many computers here. I'm just gonna change to a more powerful one that can actually um, handle. Yeah, the stream software is the problem. I look at my memory; is taking almost like 90% of the memory right now. So, um, so now everything is just like slow. Okay. All right. I believe if the 7-zip is not going to the WinZip, at least I'll show you guys how the 7-zip work. So the WinZip to also work in the same way. So is there's no big difference. You can zip with WinZip, and at the same time you can decrypt it if you know the password. So it's the same way that it works. So let's see if this tool is up. So I'm going to show you guys asymmetric encryption in action. If only this also going to allow me to show you guys something tonight. Everything is just nothing want to work tonight. All right, so with the crypto tool, we can do encryption, and then with the encryption, we're gonna do the modern encryption. Then I want to show you guys asymmetric encryption. So this is asymmetric encryption that we're gonna do, and then for the asymmetric encryption, the algorithm we're gonna use the RSA. So we're gonna do the RSA. So remember, in asymmetric encryption, there are two keys, right? You have the public key and the private key. So we're gonna do RSA encryption. So let's say we want to encrypt something. Let's say we want to encrypt something, and this is the test we want to encrypt, right? We want to encrypt this test. So you can see that we have the common part of the key pair, and then we have the public part of the key pair. So remember, in asymmetric encryption, you have two keys. You have the private key and also the public key. So here we want to encrypt, but if you want to encrypt, so let's say we want to encrypt. So here is the common part of the key, right? And then this is the public part of the key. So this is the public part of the key, and this is the end part of the key. So we're going to encrypt this and this. We're going to encrypt this and this. So when we encrypt this, and it's going to show. So this is the cipher test. The number 100 became 146, right? So this is the output. This is the output. So if you don't have the key, there's no way you can decrypt this. So let's go back, right? And this time we're going to do decryption. So here we use this to, this key to encrypt, right? So now we're going to go back. Instead of doing encryption, this time we're going to do decryption. So this is the cipher test. This is the key, right? This is number 46. So when we do a decryption, this number should have to show us 100, right? So because we have the key to decrypt it, when we decrypt, now you can see that this is the test we have, and this is the number. 146 is now, after decrypting it, it becomes 100, right? So this is asymmetric encryption. You can see that in the key you have two, right? It's two keys in asymmetric encryption. Okay. So let's move on to a hash. And I know in my earlier lecture I talked about a hash, and one thing you should know about hash is that in terms of a hash is not used to protect the confidentiality, right? But it's rather used to protect the integrity. What do I mean by integrity? Integrity simply means that you make sure that even if the people have access to the information, they cannot modify it, or any modification they do to the information, you'll be able to see it. Now, let's say you have these informations here, right? So a hash is a process to create a unique string of character from any data source. So if these are the data source, let's say you have penetration testing, I run it through a hash algorithm. It could be MD5 or SHA-1 or SHA-2. It will give me a hash, right? So I have a penetration testing, I hash it, and this is the result hash here, right? So this hash, you know, if this penetration testing is modified even by putting S at the end of this, the hash should be different, right? For example, if I go back to our tool here, and let's say I go back out to, let's say I go back all the way to and this time I'm not going to do encryption, but I'm going to choose hash function, and I'm going to hash something for you guys to see the difference that I'm talking about. So let's say we want to do, let's say, MD5, and I go here. So let's say I want to hash this. The hash of this that you have here, this is what you have here, right? So if I decide to, if you see this text message have a dot, and look at the hash very well. If I decide to remove the dot, you're going to see that this hash will change, right? If I put the dot back, you see that the hash have changed. So the N is BD. If I remove the full stop or the period, this change to 55. So the hash is to protect the integrity of the file. Okay, so that's the main goal of a hash. Another tool I can show you guys is, I have this tool right here. It's called hash my file, right? I can use that tool. Let's say if you want to know the hash of this file that I have on my computer, I can just drop it here, and it's going to give me the hash. So you see, it's giving me the MD5 hash or the SHA-1 hash and other hash, right, that I have here. But let's just focus on the MD5. So it's giving me the MD5 hash of this file that I have here. So if I modify, so look at the end very well for this hash. It's ending in AC, right? So let's say if I open this file, and let's say I just modify something about this file. Okay, let's say I came back here and I remove the full stop or the period, and I save the file back. I save it back and I close it. So look at the end very well, AC, and I drop it back again, right? And if I drop it back, oh, like it, let's look like it is AC, right? So let me remove it and then drop it. You see that now the ending is different. It's not the same anymore, right? It's a different. The hash have changed because I've changed the content. So this is one way you can know whether is that anybody tampered with your file on your computer. So if you have a tool that can hash a file for you, if you compare the hash you have for the tool yesterday with the hash you have today, then you know that if somebody mess up with it, then you know. Okay, so that's going to be one way. Another way people use hash is that, let's say if I go to a website, let's say I go to a website like this. Let's say I go to this website. This website. So let's say I go to this website where I can download this crypto tool. And as part of the download, they provide me with a SHA-1 that can verify the integrity of that file. Let's say I came to this site, I saw the hash for this tool, this one, and I'm trying to download, or I've downloaded this tool actually from a different site, and I want to make sure that the copy of this tool that I have from a different site does not contain a virus or has not been modified, right? What I can do is that I can actually compare the hash of the tool as on my computer with the hash that the website have displayed. So this is the hash of the like the hash on the site. So I have already downloaded this tool, so I'm going to show you guys. So I have this tool here. So I have downloaded this tool. So this is the tool that I have downloaded. This is the tool. So I'm going to generate a hash of the tool. So if I drop it here, it's going to generate a hash for me, and then I can use it. Senna, you have to keep quiet, please. Senna, you need to be quiet, please. So it's going to generate the hash, and then we can compare the hash with what is shown to us on the website. If it is the same, then we know that this file have not been tampered with. But if it is different, then we know that somebody have changed something about this file. Okay, so that's how, in a sense, what you want to use a hash for. Okay, I'm really sorry today the computer is slow, but next week I'm going to make sure that I resolve this. So here we have the hash, right? So if you this is the SHA-256, right? So if you go back to the site is showing us SHA-1 and SHA-256. So let's see whether we can compare it. So if you see, the SHA-256 is ending in 79, and if you see the website too, it's ending in 79. So we know that this has not been changed. So we are confident that this file has not been changed. So that's what you use the hash for. Okay, so let's continue. Just gonna try to wrap this up for you guys. So the last thing we're gonna talk about is steganography. Steganography is a technique where you can hide secret within an ordinary message. So if I have a message or a picture where I can hide a message within that picture, then we are talking about steganography. That's what we are talking about. So here I'm going to have a picture, and then I'm going to hide a message within that picture, right? So I have a tool that I can use to do that. And that tool, this is the tool right here. This is the tool right here, right? So I can use this tool. Let me just close this one. Maybe it's gonna help us with the speed of the computer. So let's say I have this tool, right, and I have an image. Let's say I have an image that I want to use to hide information. So I'm gonna browse to an image. Let's say I'm gonna browse to an image. Here, let's say I want to hide something in this image, this one, or let's say this one. I want to hide something here. So let's say invalid format. I need to look for something that is so that's invalid. Let me see. This that's one to invalid. What is it saying? Invalid. Really? Oh, let me see this one. I just used this today. Let me see something here. Yeah. I don't know. Today is like nothing want to work today. Ha. Okay, so this one I know I have. I don't know why this is not working today. Nothing seems to work today. All right, I don't know why it's not working today, but I'll show you guys this before. It's the same files that I use. This is so strange. That is not working. Because it's the same files that I've used before and again and again. Okay, so this one worked. So let's say I want to encrypt it with 1, 2, 3, and the message I want to hide is, let's say, this is a secret. Okay, so this is a secret. Is a message I want to hide in this image. So I'll say create. So it created it, and now you see this is a cipher test. So I'm going to create an image that will hide this. This is a secret. So the password is test123. So we're going to create it, and I'm going to save the message. I'm going to save it. I'll say test123, or let's say test2 will be the name. So I'm going to save it, and successful. I'm going to close it. Then I'm going to go back to image. I'm going to select the second one, and now I'm going to try to see whether I can decrypt the message, the image, to see the message. So remember, the encryption key, the symmetric encryption key was test123. So we're going to open that image and see whether can we get the content. So voila, so we are able to get the message that we hide in we're able to hide the secret. So this is how it works. So if the bad guys want to hide a message and send it to somebody else, this is the kind of technique they use. They take an image and hide the secret in the image, and then when it gets to the destination, then the person already have the symmetric key, and then it can open it and view the content. Okay, all right. So that's what I want to show you guys tonight. Um, Sorry that the computer was a little bit slow today. Next week I'm going to change it to a better computer that I have, a very more powerful. I hope it was not too boring. You guys were able to learn something tonight. Next week I'm going to start a different series next week. So next week I'm just going to be talking about some of the vulnerabilities. So like next week we can talk about what do we mean by SQL injection. So next week I can talk about SQL injection, how the bad guys actually exploit SQL injection. So we're going to start talking about some of the vulnerabilities that you can see out there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. This time I'm going to open for questioning. If you have any question, you can feel free to ask me. So you can ask me any question. Okay, so we're gonna do that for the next 3 minutes. Any question from you guys? I'm sorry that it was very slow today, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Yeah, so people ask me about, they want to learn about SQL injection and all that. I know some people are saying that this server talks is become more complicated. Yes, sometimes it's not easy to explain technical stuff, but and also I have audiences that have IT background that also want to learn. So I'm going to start teaching from next week. I'm going to start teaching some of the vulnerability, because I know some people don't really understand it. So I'm going to start doing that. So next week we're going to talk about SQL injection. The following week maybe I'll talk about cross-site scripting, and the other following week maybe I will talk about remote code execution. So I'm going to be taking vulnerabilities one by one and be discussing them. So if you have any question, I still have a minute to spare for you guys to ask your question. But next week, make a date with me. It's going to be very interesting, especially for those who already have IT background and those also want to learn how the bad guys actually hack into your account. How can the bad guys hack into, like, how is it possible bad guys have your username and password? I'm going to show you, because with the SQL injection, if the bad guys are able to exploit SQL injection and get access to a company database where your username and password are stored, then they'll be able to hack into your account. So next week, make a date with me. I'm going to be talking about some of the vulnerability, especially SQL injection, that could be used by the bad guys to have access to your sensitive information. So we're going to be covering what we call error-based SQL injection and also blind SQL injection. So we're going to be talking about that next week. Yeah, so this program is every Thursday at 8 p.m. The same time, the same bad channel, every Thursday. All right. Any question? I still have 30 seconds. If you have any question. Yeah, Kiki Tofa say he's excited for next week. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna get a little bit technical next week. I'm gonna dive into more technical stuff, because I can see that I have people who are already IT here. Kiki is there, Mark Wallace, Espoir, I know Ezose. You have I have quite a few people who are already technical, so they also want to benefit from this talk show. So next week we're gonna go a little bit technical. I'm gonna talk about SQL injection and all that. All right. If there are no questions, thank you guys so much for being part of this show. Thank you so much for being patient. And hopefully next week we're gonna have a blast. We're gonna enjoy ourselves with a very exciting, very exciting demonstrations. Aquile Alassani, he said, "Can you please do assessment for us? What kind of assessments do you want me to do?" Right? I don't know what kind of assessments do you want us to do. Can you explain the kind of assessment you want? I don't know. What do you mean by can you please do assessment for us? So if you can rephrase your question for me.
Oh my god, is it only up to me?
Assessment. What kind of assessment are you talking about? Because what I'm going to show you next week about SQL injection, I'm going to explain what is SQL injection and also show you guys how to exploit SQL injection vulnerability. So that's what I'm going to do. Kiki El Silencio. Kiki El Silencio, how you doing? Pascal Agodavi, how you doing? Ameji Komlavi, hey, you are not sleeping, you are in Ghana. I think it's very late in Ghana. I really appreciate you guys being here to follow me. Oh, so you're talking about assessment authorization. So you're talking about ANA. Okay, maybe I'll find one day where I'm going to try to break the whole process of the ANA process for you guys. That is the risk management framework. Maybe I'll do one lecture, or I can do a series of 2 or 3 to just break down what we mean by the risk management framework and then just give you guys an overview. Actually have a school, SmartThink. So last time I shared the link with you guys. If you really want to know more about the assessment and authorization process, I actually have a school called SmartThink LLC. You can go to our website. I have a class coming up July 11. So you can join that class and you can learn more about the risk management framework, not just the risk management framework. My class go beyond just the risk management framework. You can learn things about other framework like PCI DSS, HIPAA, high trust, ISO. You can learn about SSA 18. You can learn about vendor risk management. I also cover very interesting stuff about IT. Like we're going to talk about networking. We'll talk about the OSI model. We talk about some of the vulnerability tools like Nessus, Qualys. We talk about some of the static code analysis tools like SonarQube, OAuth independency check. So it's like a whole class. You're going to learn a lot. So it's not just your typical risk management class. You're going to learn things about firewall, DMZ. So it's a lot. So I know Kiki, you took my class, so you know the content very well. So if you guys want more information, you can reach me on I think last time I let me see, last time I can show you guys the information so that if you guys want to if you guys want more information, you can actually, let me write information. You can contact us on info at smartthinkllc.com, and our website is SmartThink. I'm gonna write it and show you guys very soon. SmartThinkllc.com. So here is info at smartthinkllc.com. As a matter of fact, this Saturday we are having an information session. So from information session from I believe um, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern time. So if you want to change your career, you're interested in cybersecurity, I invite you to our information session. It's going to be virtual online from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. If you're interested, just send me a message on this, right? You can send me a message on this, or you can text me on 240-608-9264. So you can send me a text message via this, right? Or you can send me an email on this, and you can also check our website is LLC. You can check our website. Okay. Yeah. So Kiki Tofa, I'll send you the invite. I'll send the email out tomorrow, so you're gonna get an invite for tomorrow. So guys, if there's no other question, thank you so much. Have a good night, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow, Friday, for another show. Our weekend vibe. I know Pascal Agudavi, you are excited. I know you're gonna be there to watch the show tomorrow. To watch weekend vibe tomorrow at exactly. I'll be online tomorrow exactly 8 p.m. for our weekly weekend vibe show. All right. Yeah, you're right. It's not necessary to change your career, but knowledge is powerful. So if you want to learn or you want to change your career, whatever is your reason, check us out. Come to our website, smarthinkllc.com. Send us a message on info@smarthinkllc.com, or you can send me a text message on 240-608-9264. Okay. All right. Thank you guys so much for being patient with me, for spending time with me, and I hope to see you tomorrow on Weekend Vibe. All right. Thank you.